In this demonstration, we're going to look at configuring email address policies. What we're going to have a look at is we're going to have a look at how we modify the default email address policy, which is currently applied to all my users, and we'll also have a look at how we create a new email address policy. And the purpose of the policy is to generate the email addresses associated with the users. So as we can see, Adam, for example, is adam@datum.com. Alfie is alfie@datum.com, and that's because the default policy is based off alias@domain. Now, looking down there, I might have multiple Abbies, I might have multiple Alfies, so probably a better way to specify the email address is via firstname.lastname at whatever the domain is. So if we start off with having a look at how we would modify the default email address policy, and because it's a default, it applies to everybody. So in my Exchange Admin Center, we come to our mail flow tab, and in our mail flow tab, we come to our email address policies. So what I want to do is I want to modify this default policy. So I'll just double click on the policy. Default policy, lowest priority. Then we'll come to our email address format and we'll add an additional email address format for our users. So the way we're going to do that is select an accepted domain. So we're going to go for datum.com. We're going to go for firstname.lastname at whatever the domain is. This is just an example. And what we'll do is we will then specify that to be the reply address. So if a user has multiple email addresses, we can send an email to any of those email addresses. But when the user replies back, the user will reply back from whatever we specify as the default reply email address. So we'll select save. We'll select save again, and we'll select OK. So this point here, it's now modified the policy. We'll apply that policy. We'll say yes, just telling us it might take a little while. We'll select close. We've now applied that default policy. So another thing we can do is we can create a custom policy. Now to create a custom policy, we just select plus. Then at this point here, we'll give it a name. So I'm just going to call mine sales email. Then what we can do is we can specify email address format based off a thing we call an accepted domain. So at this point, if I just click my plus button, if we click on the drop down, we don't get anything but a datum.com. Now I want an email of sales.datum.com. So in order to actually create this policy, the first thing I have to do is I actually have to come in and I have to create a thing called an accepted domain. So all we're going to do is we're going to click the plus button. It's going to ask us to give this a name, so I'm just going to call this sales. Then in the case of the accepted domain, we'll just call this sales.datum.com. This will be an authoritative domain, that means we look after it. I will select save. Now we've created that accepted domain, if we come back to our email address policy and click our plus button, if we now come in and call this one sales email, and then what we'll do with this sales email is we'll click the plus button and we'll go for, rather than firstname.lastname, I'm actually just going to go for first name, first initial at whatever the domain is. Click on my drop down now, and now I can specify my sales.datum.com. Then what we need to do is we just need to specify a rule for this. So if we scroll this down, so we are happy that it's going to be John S. So we'll just save that off. Then what we'll do is we'll just specify the rule. So we'll apply this to all recipient types. We'll add a rule for this policy. And in the case of select one, I'll click on the drop down and we'll do this based off recipient container. And the recipient container will be sales. We'll click OK. Now we've done all of that, what we'll do is we'll select our save button. Click OK. Go to our sales email and we'll just apply that. And we'll say yes. So we'll select close and we'll just make sure that these policies have applied. So we'll come to recipients. We'll just look at Adam to start with. And if we look at Adam to start with and look at his email address, we can now see adam.hobbs@datum.com. So he has the one from the default policy. And what we'll also do as well is we'll just have a look down here and we'll look for a user that's sitting in the sales domain. So what we'll do is we'll pick on Emil. And then we'll have a look at email addresses. And as we can see, Emil has got 3 email addresses. And that's the end of this demonstration of creating and applying email address policies. Thank you.